There are many birds in the world that are beautiful, elegant, and majestic, but those are not the birds I'm going to talk about today. Today, I'm going to talk about the true monsters of the avian community, the big feathery beasts that make it clear they are descendants of dinosaurs. These are 20 dangerous birds you should run away from. But before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Now let's get started. Number 1. The crowned eagle. The number 1 among African eagles is one of the most powerful and feared birds on the continent. Its extraordinary strength is one of the main factors that make this bird one of the deadliest on the planet. The crowned eagle is a true killing machine with impressive efficiency and lethal precision in its attacks. Its flight is almost completely silent, making it nearly impossible to hear it approaching, which makes its hunting even more terrifying. It rarely wastes energy during a hunt, preferring to wait patiently in a strategic location, such as a tree by a water source, waiting for its prey to come closer. When an unfortunate creature enters its line of sight, the crowned eagle swoops down in a quick and relentless attack, using its long, powerful talons to crush the prey's spine in a brutal manner. The impact is so fast and devastating that the victim has little time to react. At least, we can say it's an effective and instant attack. But if you think that's scary, wait until you see what happens when a pair of these birds hunt together. When they are in pairs, they form a deadly team and have a hunting strategy that can leave anyone hair-raising. The male, flying high in the sky, begins to emit specific sounds to attract the prey in the trees below. Crowned eagles have a preference for monkeys, so the male creates a distraction to divert the prey's attention. While the monkey, completely unaware, looks at the male, the female seizes the opportunity to swoop down quickly and catch one of them. If the chosen victim is a little heavier than expected, the pair meets on the ground, where together, with impressive strength, they tear the prey apart and destroy it with lethal precision. After the attack, they take the parts of the prey back to the nest, storing some to eat later, ensuring they always have a good meal on hand. Number 2. The great horned owl. This fascinating bird of prey has a surprising diet. It eats absolutely anything that moves, literally any living creature within its reach, and sometimes even prey that has been dead for a while. A bit gross, right? Although it's not the largest bird of prey, the great horned owl can weigh up to about 5 pounds, but don't be fooled by its size. It is far from fragile. In fact, this bird can carry up to 4 times its own weight. So, while its usual menu consists of prey like rabbits, rats, and hares, the great horned owl has the impressive ability to capture larger and stronger animals, such as skunks or raccoons. Some even bolder owls have dared to challenge their abilities and have captured ospreys and hawks, much larger and stronger birds. Its silent attack is one of its most powerful weapons. The owl is a master of the stealthy hunting technique, sneaking up on its prey without making a sound. But what truly makes this bird amazing is its incredible crushing power. When it captures prey with its sharp talons, it exerts an impressive pressure of 28 pounds, enough to crush the spine of its victim. Not to mention that the owl's talons can cause irreparable damage to anything that dares to be captured. It's no wonder that many animals, even the boldest ones, choose to keep a safe distance from the owl's hunting grounds. Additionally, it's important to note that even humans need to be cautious with this bird. There have been several reports, particularly during the winter nesting months, of great horned owls attacking people who get too close to their hunting areas or nests. One well-known incident occurred when a 12-year-old boy, while cross-country skiing in a Montana state park, was attacked by a great horned owl. The bird apparently thought he looked a bit suspicious and decided to act quickly, silently swooping in on the boy. The owl flew directly at him, its talons aimed right at his face. Fortunately, the boy was incredibly lucky, as he was not struck by the talons in his eye, which could have been a tragedy. Even so, after the encounter with the great horned owl, the boy remained determined to pursue his dream of becoming an ornithologist when he grows up, which shows an incredible level of determination and passion for these birds. This is truly surprising, isn't it? After all, few people would maintain the same enthusiasm for these creatures after such an intense encounter. Number 3. The spur-winged goose. Preparing a succulent goose may seem like an elegant and sophisticated option, perfect for a celebration or festive occasion, but you must be very careful when choosing the goose you're going to feast on, because depending on your choice, you might end up being the true victim of the meal. The spur-winged goose is one of these birds that should be avoided at all costs. Unlike other birds that are considered relatively harmless and delicious, spur-winged geese are extremely dangerous creatures. They have a particularity that makes them very different: their diet. These geese have a strong preference for a type of insect known as the blister beetle, an insect notorious for possessing an extremely potent toxic secretion. This toxin is released as a defense mechanism to deter predators who, upon approaching, would sense the poison and avoid eating the beetle. However, unlike many other birds that would be quickly harmed by this toxin, the spur-winged goose is completely immune to the venom. For it, the beetle is a true delicacy, delicious, and irresistible. After consuming these toxic beetles, the goose stores the poison in its own tissues, meaning that even after being cooked, the goose still carries this dangerous toxin. What's even more frightening is that in a relatively small amount, about 10 milligrams of the toxin, it's enough to kill a human. Therefore, even though the goose may seem like a tasty option for a festive meal, the risk of poisoning is extremely high. This is a clear example of how, when dealing with certain animals and ingredients, we must be extremely cautious of their characteristics and, most importantly, the dangers they can pose to our health. Number 4. The European quail. Next, we have a bird that, although commonly consumed by humans, has a rather strange peculiarity. It can, under certain circumstances, be toxic. The European quail, a small migratory game bird, undertakes long journeys annually. This bird has been appreciated as food for hundreds of years, yet it must be handled with great caution, primarily due to its eating habits. In its diet, the quail mainly feeds on a wide variety of seeds and grains, along with some weeds. However, there is something darker in its eating behavior. Occasionally, the quail consumes potentially deadly plants, such as hemlock, a highly poisonous plant containing a toxic compound called cannina. This poison is what transforms these seemingly harmless birds into secretly dangerous poultry for human consumption. It is important to emphasize that the European quail only poses this risk during the migration season when, for reasons not yet fully understood, its body can accumulate the poison found in hemlock. However, even during this period, it is extremely rare for them to become truly toxic. Therefore, it is like a form of lottery, as unless there is an absolute and detailed control of everything the bird has consumed, the risk remains present. The relationship between humans and the European quail, along with its potential poison, is not something recent. In fact, as early as ancient Greek times, people were aware that these birds could be poisonous. Yet, strangely, this did not stop them from continuing to consume them. It seems that the attraction to the flavor of the meat, or perhaps the thrill of the risk, continues to lead people to face this biological Russian roulette, where the risk of consuming something potentially lethal is always present. Number 5. The red warbler. The red warbler may be small and charming, with a delicate appearance and vibrant colors, but in reality, it is one of the most dangerous birds that exist. These birds are mostly endemic to Mexico, meaning they live exclusively in certain regions of the country and primarily inhabit dense oak, fir, and pine forests. However, despite its innocent appearance, while it sings joyfully in the trees, captivating everyone with its soft sounds, it is actually filled with extremely dangerous substances. The Aztecs, ancient and wise people of Mesoamerica, already knew long ago that the red warbler was considered inedible. Although, if we think about it, the amount of meat one could actually get from such a tiny bird is, to say the least, questionable. The important thing is that they were fully aware of what these birds represented. These warblers contain substances that not only make their flesh completely inedible, but also highly toxic to anyone who dares to consume it. The substance responsible for this toxicity is neurotoxic alkaloids. Neurotoxic alkaloids are poisonous compounds that accumulate in these birds' bodies and serve as a natural defense against predators. They provide vital protection against threats, making the red warbler an undesirable prey for many animals. These toxins not only make the bird immune to natural hunters, but also help the warbler live more safely in its natural environment. And it seems that this strategy is working, as despite the reduction of their habitat due to urbanization and other environmental changes, the red warbler continues to be a thriving species. It is interesting to note that, even with the reduction of their habitats and the risk of extinction in some areas, red warblers have not suffered much from excessive hunting or large-scale mortality. The presence of these toxins seems to have, in fact, been an advantage for the survival of this species. So, the lesson here for other birds and animals facing the threat of predators or hunters is, nature, in a surprisingly effective way, always finds ways to protect its inhabitants. Number 6. The peregrine falcon. The peregrine falcon is one of the many fascinating species of hawks that inhabit our planet, and these birds are an impressive example of large, predatory raptors. They are not only extremely dangerous but also display an indescribable majesty when they are in flight. The peregrine falcon stands out among raptors, being recognized for its incredible elegance and at the same time its terrifying speed. It holds the title of the fastest bird in the world, and its ability to reach such speeds is truly remarkable. During normal flight, these birds can achieve an average speed of approximately 40 miles per hour, which is already a considerable speed. However, when they are in pursuit of their prey, this speed can increase to an impressive 65 miles per hour. But what really astonishes is when the peregrine falcon dives toward its victim. At this moment, it can reach its top speed, which can be as insanely fast as 200 miles per hour. This number is truly astonishing, making this bird an unmatched aerial predator. In terms of size, the peregrine falcon is not a giant bird. It stands about 18 inches tall. However, what it lacks in height, it makes up for with a wingspan that can reach an impressive 3.5 feet. Like other raptors, the peregrine falcon has a hooked beak, perfectly designed to tear through the flesh of its prey, as well as incredibly powerful talons, which are its primary tools for capturing and killing efficiently. This combination of speed, power, and precision makes the peregrine falcon one of the most impressive creatures in the animal kingdom. Now, we'd love to hear what you think about this extraordinary bird. How about leaving your opinion and joining the conversation in the comments below? Let's share ideas and discuss more about these incredible sky predators. Number 7. Hawks. Hawks are extremely diverse predatory birds with an impressive variety of species. The term hawk is used generically to describe approximately 270 different species of predatory birds. All of these birds belong to the category of raptors, also known as birds of prey. They are remarkably strong birds, equipped with impressive abilities to catch their prey, and all possess extremely sharp talons, which they use to grab and immobilize their victims. Their beaks, equally powerful and hooked, are specialized for tearing the flesh of their prey, making them formidable and efficient hunters. One of the most impressive characteristics of hawks is their extraordinary eyesight, which is undoubtedly the most advanced in the entire animal kingdom. Their visual ability is so refined that they can see up to 8 times more clearly than a human. With this superior vision, they can spot their prey from incredible distances, a truly remarkable feat in the animal world. Although hawks vary widely in size, from the imposing bald eagle, which can weigh up to 13 pounds, about 5.9 kilograms, to the small American kestrel, which weighs only a few ounces, they all share one common trait: their remarkable flying ability. Regardless of their size, hawks are excellent flyers, with a remarkable combination of strength, agility, and stamina, which allows them to move swiftly through the air and hunt with extreme efficiency. These birds are perfectly adapted to their predatory lifestyle. Their anatomy and hunting skills are unparalleled, allowing them to catch and kill a wide range of animals, from small rodents to other birds. For these reasons, hawks are considered one of nature's most efficient and perfect creatures, with abilities that are constantly admired by scientists and naturalists around the world. Number 8. The little shrike thrush. This bird is another example of a venomous species similar to the pitohui we observed earlier. Like almost all living beings on the planet, it evolved to develop defense strategies against predators, always seeking to minimize the chances of being hunted. The unique adaptation of this bird is to become toxic to anything that might have the intention of eating it. The shrike thrush is a venomous bird native to Australia, found in dense tropical forests and mangrove swamps. It is believed that this small bird feeds on insects that, in turn, are contaminated with poisonous substances. To give you an idea of the type of poison, it is similar to that found in poisonous frogs. Although the bird is completely immune to the poison it carries, it uses it as a natural defense. If a predator tries to attack it, that predator will likely end up in very bad shape, and it is highly probable that it won't survive the encounter. The poison of the shrike thrush works as an extremely efficient protection mechanism, ensuring its survival in an environment where the risks of predation are high. Number 9. The bone-eating bearded vulture. Although these vultures have a clear preference for the bones of already dead animals, their imposing and terrifying appearance has led the bone-eating bearded vulture to acquire a somewhat exaggerated reputation for stealing lambs and even babies. However, this idea is far from true. In reality, these vultures are not interested in killing their prey, but prefer to consume the bone marrow inside the bones, which is their primary food source. For them, hunting and killing their own prey is not on their agenda. While they may occasionally eat a small turtle or lizard, about 80% of the bone-eating bearded vulture's diet consists of bones and bone marrow. This bird is the only known vertebrate with a diet predominantly made up of bones, making it truly unique in the animal kingdom. It usually feeds on carcasses, scavenging leftover bones, and once it has a bone, it drops it from great heights, letting it fall dramatically to break it into smaller pieces that are easier to swallow. The acids in its stomach are extremely strong, allowing it to digest the bone fragments in approximately 24 hours. The bone-eating bearded vulture is easily recognizable by its vibrant appearance, with strikingly bright orange feathers. During the grooming process, they rub themselves with soil, and the iron oxide in the soil adds a brilliant red hue to their bodies. This coloring is not just an aesthetic feature, but a status symbol among vultures, often associated with older and more established individuals within their community. While this vibrant color stands out, it serves no purpose as camouflage, as it makes the bird impossible to hide due to its obvious visual presence. Instead, the coloring seems to serve a purely decorative purpose, helping the vultures present themselves in a more imposing and distinguished manner, making them appear even more elegant and striking to others. Number 10. The emu. A bird that had a war literally declared against it. It sounds completely insane and almost like something out of a crazy movie, but what happened to the emu in 1932 is in fact a true story. For those who don't know, the emu, or emu as it is sometimes called, is a huge, flightless bird that primarily lives in Australia. However, what's more surprising about this story is not the bird itself, but the fact that, at one point, it became the target of an official war, with soldiers being called in to fight these wild birds. It all started when the human population of a district in Western Australia became so concerned with the behavior of the emus, which were invading farms, destroying crops, and causing chaos throughout the area, that they decided action was necessary. But instead of taking traditional measures to deal with the situation, the local government opted to call in the military. Yes, real soldiers were mobilized, with the mission of dealing with the emus. The idea seemed simple: use military force to resolve the problem caused by these birds. However, what no one expected was that this strategy would not be effective at all. It turns out that firing machine guns at these birds wasn't the solution to the problem. Although the humans thought they could quickly and efficiently wipe them out, the birds were simply too fast to catch. The emus, with their long and powerful legs, managed to outrun the attacks, easily evading the gunfire. The situation dragged on for several weeks, and after 3 failed attempts to eradicate the emus, the humans found themselves forced to surrender. What had seemed like a simple military operation turned into an embarrassing defeat for the army, with the birds emerging victorious, leaving people wondering who the real bird brains were in this scenario. Today, the emu is considered one of the largest birds in the world. It is an imposing creature, capable of growing up to around 6 feet tall, making it the second largest bird on the planet, with only the ostrich being larger. Despite its small, practically useless wings for flying, the emu is an extremely fast and agile bird. Its legs are long, muscular, and very powerful, allowing it to run at high speeds, reaching up to 30 miles per hour. This means that, if you provoke an emu, you can be sure that it can easily chase you down with its impressive speed. So, if you ever find yourself face to face with an emu, it might be a good idea to stay calm and not do anything that could make the bird angry. They can become quite aggressive when they feel threatened, and it's better to keep your distance because these birds know how to defend themselves and aren't afraid to run after you if necessary. Number 11. Seagulls. If you've ever had the opportunity to visit the coast, you've likely encountered a seagull. These birds are common in coastal regions around the world, and there are many different species. In fact, there are over 50 distinct types of seagulls found in coastal habitats. However, it is the seagulls that have interacted directly with humans that are the most dangerous and, generally, the most annoying of all. Although they may initially seem like simple and harmless birds, they possess surprising intelligence. Interestingly, even their tiny bird brains seem to have figured out that where there are humans, there's a good chance of finding food, and that's exactly what they love. Seagulls have an amazing ability to locate any food left behind by people. These birds can consume up to 20% of their body weight every single day. Since they weigh around 1.5 pounds, 680 grams, that means they can eat a surprisingly large amount of food each day. Not only do they feed abundantly, but they also have a notably good memory, which makes them even more adaptable. If you hide food from them, they'll not only remember where you put it, but they will also remember your face. If you are someone who has ever fed a seagull in the past, there's a good chance that it will recognize you and may even expect you to provide more food in the future. Additionally, seagulls can become extremely aggressive when they want something. There have been several reports of seagulls attempting to steal food from humans and, in some cases, causing severe injuries, such as broken bones, deep cuts, and bruises. The aggression these birds exhibit can be frightening, especially when they feel their food or territory is threatened. And if you think you can approach their nests without consequences, you'd better think again. Seagulls are incredibly protective of their nests and their young. They won't hesitate to attack anyone who gets too close to their breeding area. These birds are known to become violent and highly territorial, and any suspicious movement near their nests can trigger an immediate aggressive response. In some cases, they may even approach in an intimidating way as a warning that they are willing to defend their space at any cost. In summary, seagulls, while seemingly harmless at first glance, are highly adaptable, intelligent birds that can be much more dangerous than you might expect when in contact with humans. With their food-locating skills, impressive memory, and protective nature, they should be treated with caution and respect, especially in areas where they are more common. Number 12. The southern giant petrel. The giant petrel, a massive seabird, is known for its impressive wingspan, which can reach up to 7 feet, about 2.1 meters, making it one of the largest and most imposing birds in the world. This magnificent bird has a particularly peculiar flying technique, which can be described as a true eccentricity of the animal kingdom. It launches itself onto the water's surface and, in an impressive movement, begins to run across it, gaining speed until it reaches the necessary momentum to take off. This unique ability to run on the water, or rather, to walk on it, is where any divine comparison can be made, but it's also exactly where any sublime parallel ends. After all, these birds have a far more earthly behavior and somewhat repulsive habits. Much like a gigantic garbage disposal unit, the giant petrel consumes some live prey such as squid and krill, but its true preference lies in dead and decaying food. These animals do not hesitate to consume any kind of biological waste, often finding sustenance in pieces of dead penguins, seals, or whales that have long passed their freshness stage. They are indeed relentless when it comes to feeding on decomposed, rotting meat. Furthermore, this behavior extends to their skill at following fishing boats. There, in search of any dead or discarded fish, they quickly swoop in to vacuum up whatever remnants of food remain. From time to time, these massive birds get into serious trouble, eating bait that is still hooked on fishermen's lines, which often leads to drowning, a fatal consequence of their relentless quest for food. There are a few different species of this incredible bird. One of them is the southern giant petrel, which, as the name suggests, inhabits the southern hemisphere, particularly the icy and inhospitable regions of Antarctica. However, don't be fooled into thinking that this bird is confined only to the southernmost waters. There is also the northern giant petrel, which does not live in the northern hemisphere, as one might expect, but in areas further north of the Antarctic region, in the vast southern oceans. Regardless of the species, these birds are impressive, enormous, and undoubtedly aggressive, making them creatures that are both feared and respected in the animal world. Their behavior is undoubtedly peculiar, as they not only feed on repulsive things, but they also have the habit of vomiting on anything around them, including anyone who dares to come too close. This is not uncommon, and it's precisely for these behaviors that they are nicknamed stinkers. A true surprise given their bizarre and, let's say, rather unpleasant conduct. Number 13. The ostrich. The ostrich is not only the largest bird on the planet, but it is also the heaviest and fastest when it comes to running. With its incredibly sharp talons and extremely powerful legs, it possesses one of the most impressive structures among birds. These characteristics make the ostrich an extremely dangerous creature that is hard to underestimate. The ostrich's large body makes it incapable of flying due to its massive weight, but in return, it has developed a set of muscular legs highly adapted for speed. This physical enhancement allows the ostrich to be incredibly agile on land. Over short distances, it can reach impressive speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, making it one of the fastest creatures in the animal kingdom when it comes to quick sprints. Even over longer distances, it still maintains a speed of around 48 kilometers per hour, which helps it escape predators and move quickly through its environment. This remarkable set of skills is one of the reasons the ostrich continues to thrive and adapt so successfully, surviving and dominating vast regions around the world. Number 14. The Australian magpie. This dangerous bird, known as the Australian magpie, should by no means be confused with the European magpie. The Australian magpie is completely different, with absolutely insane and unpredictable behavior, being almost obsessed with ripping out the eyes of anyone who gets too close. It is a true maniac, relentless, and will not hesitate to attack if it feels its comfort zone has been invaded. Don't be fooled. This bird is not just aggressive, it is extremely dangerous, so the best thing to do is stay far away from it. In fact, even getting close to an Australian magpie is a bad idea. It won't think twice before attacking you simply for walking near the tree it's perched on. This bird is so territorial and bloodthirsty that even the locals, who are rarely impressed, know just how cruel it can be. During nesting season, people will go as far as crossing the street to avoid this bird's fury. It defends its area with such aggression that it even manages to make others respect its space without lifting a wing. The Australian magpie is obsessed with its territory. If it perceives a human approaching too casually, it will immediately go on the offensive, diving in a crazed flight and targeting any exposed skin, especially the eyes. It has the ability to attack so quickly and precisely that it becomes a true nightmare for anyone in the vicinity. In the blink of an eye, it could be heading your way, pecking viciously, and leaving you in panic. In Australia, this much-feared bird is considered a real threat, and to prevent incidents, areas where it is known to nest must be marked with large warning signs, alerting people to the risk of Australian magpie attacks. The signs make it clear. There are aggressive magpies in the area, and people need to be cautious to avoid becoming a victim of its fury. It really makes a point of marking its territory, and as if that weren't enough, it even gets people to move away from its area without needing to do anything. Fiercely territorial and, for many, one of the most aggressive birds in the world, the Australian magpie will not hesitate to attack anyone who dares to challenge its space. So, if you come across one, the best thing to do is read the warning signs and follow the advice to stay far away from its territory. After all, if you value your eyes, it's not a good idea to mess with this dangerous bird. Number 15. The cassowary. If there was ever a bird that could represent the likely evolution of dinosaurs into modern-day birds, it would undoubtedly be the cassowary. When you look at it, it's almost impossible not to notice that it has a distinctly dinosaur-like appearance. I mean, just look closely and tell me that it doesn't resemble a modern-day dinosaur. The cassowary is undoubtedly one of the most fascinating and terrifying creatures in nature, and it has the rather ominous title of the world's most dangerous bird. This title is not given lightly, as there's a very serious reason behind it. These flightless, eccentric-looking birds have the ability to kill a human with just one powerful swipe of their legs. Yes, you read that correctly. A single swipe can be fatal. The cassowary is native to parts of Asia and Australia, and because it's considered a dangerous exotic bird, anyone wanting to breed or keep one must obtain a special permit. The helmeted cassowary, with its bright blue face, can grow up to 6 feet 6 inches tall and weigh as much as 132 pounds. To put it into perspective, if one of these attacks you, it won't be anything like being attacked by a simple sparrow. The strength and aggression of this bird far exceed anything you might imagine. Equipped with a lethal weapon, the cassowary has 3 toes on each foot, with one of these toes resembling a sharp dagger. There are terrifying records of cassowaries literally eviscerating humans with the precision of their razor-sharp claws, which are so efficient that they can easily sever a limb from a person. With a single strike, this blade-like claw can cause irreparable damage. And this, my friends, is one dangerous toe. This bird definitely needs some serious podiatrist intervention. Better yet, a specialist in dangerous feet. In one particularly tragic case, a 75-year-old man in Florida was brutally attacked by one of his own cassowaries at his home. He was so severely injured in the attack that, after the incident, his recovery was extremely difficult and he required intensive medical care. These modern-day dinosaurs are incredibly powerful, and as we can see, they have immense potential to cause harm. So, if you ever come across a cassowary, remember that you are facing an animal that carries the strength of a prehistoric era. Number 16. The Canada goose. If you've ever encountered a Canada goose, you've probably already realized just how unpredictable and, at times, extremely aggressive these birds can be. In many regions of North America, they are so common that it feels like they're everywhere, and their behavior can be described as hostile toward almost everyone around them, or at least, that's how it seems. The Canada goose is a large, wild bird with a black head and neck, contrasting with white feathers beneath its chin and a brown body. These geese are found throughout North America, but they can also be seen migrating as far as northern Europe at certain times of the year. Furthermore, populations of Canada geese have been introduced to other parts of the world, where they've adapted easily. These geese have an unusual preference for settling in areas where people are commonly found, which means they frequently choose urban and cultivated areas to build their nests. This results in regular contact with humans, and this is where the problems begin, when they feel that their nests are at risk. Even unintentionally, such as when a person walks nearby unaware, Canada geese can become extremely aggressive and start attacking. While this behavior may seem somewhat comical to onlookers, the truth is that these attacks can be dangerous and violent. Additionally, their presence has become increasingly frequent in many areas. The population of Canada geese seems to be thriving uncontrollably, and with that, their behavior is becoming more intense, making them more intimidating each day. They have the annoying habit of leaving droppings everywhere, creating a mess, and they become visibly aggressive toward passers-by, even chasing those with food. They are also known to approach people insistently, almost as if begging to be fed. However, it's important to emphasize that, although these birds' behavior may seem amusing at first, you really don't want to attract the attention of a Canada goose. These animals are much larger and stronger than they appear, and their aggressive reactions can be dangerous. In the end, the Canada goose, while seemingly simple and even charming at times, is actually a wild and unpredictable creature that should be approached with caution. Number 17. The hooded pitohui, a small bird that at first glance may seem harmless, but in reality it is extremely poisonous. Don't be deceived by its delicate and innocent appearance. This bird is actually the only known one on the planet to have toxic feathers, making it one of the most fascinating and dangerous creatures in nature. The scientist who discovered this deadly secret didn't immediately realize how lucky he was after catching one of these birds in a net. After handling the bird, he touched his face without thinking, and within minutes, his lips started to feel numb. Alarmed by what was happening, the scientist realized something very strange was at play, although, in truth, he probably should have been more careful with hand hygiene before touching his face. Intrigued and concerned by the effects of the bird, he decided to send some of the bird's feathers to a laboratory for analysis. What was discovered was truly surprising. The bird was full of batrachotoxin, an extremely powerful and lethal toxin used in making poison arrows. Curiously, the only other place where this substance is found naturally is in the skin of the famous poison dart frog, known for its toxicity. But the most intriguing thing of all is that, contrary to what one might think, the hooded pitohui doesn't produce this toxin in its own body. Instead, it acquires it through its diet, which includes a specific type of beetle that contains the poisonous substance. Although the birds themselves are unaffected by eating these beetles, the toxin they ingest makes them dangerous to any predator foolish enough to attack them. To protect themselves, these birds use their vibrant orange feathers as a sort of natural warning, signaling to predators that attacking them is not worth the risk. In other words, these feathers serve as a warning label, a kind of danger sign in nature, alerting other animals that the cost of an attack could be fatal. So, the moral of the story is quite clear. You shouldn't go around licking birds, especially the poisonous ones. And if you're interested in these deadly and fascinating creatures, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, as we'll have more amazing content like this in the future. Number 18. The swan in the United Kingdom. Most people have heard that swans can be surprisingly aggressive animals, and it is not uncommon for reports of swans breaking arms during confrontations to surface, especially when they are particularly irritated or provoked. However, the swan is even more dangerous than its tendency to break limbs suggests. This bird, with its serene and majestic appearance, actually hides a rather notable killing instinct. Mute swans, known for their beautiful plumage and imposing stature, are famous for being the property of the Queen of England. However, if these swans truly belong to the monarch, a pertinent question arises. How can she, being the owner of this magnificent bird, be so negligent in her responsibility to care for and control such a dangerous animal? Well, perhaps the answer is simple. These enraged birds have become a real threat around the British countryside, attacking and breaking bones, showing that their ferocity goes beyond what anyone could imagine. These imposing creatures are not at all shy about defending their nests and territory with unusual aggressiveness. In disputes between male swans, it is common for the aggressor to push the rival under the water in a demonstration of brutality. Additionally, mute swans are extremely hungry creatures with a huge need for food to sustain their large body structures. They feed voraciously on vegetation, but they also do not hesitate to devour animals, such as fish, frogs, and even their eggs, as well as mollusks and insects. Due to their voracious eating behavior, swans have become responsible for displacing several native species, and in some cases their excessive feeding practices have caused significant damage to natural habitats by consuming vegetation indiscriminately. For example, in 2012 in Chicago, a man was attacked by a swan while he was in a kayak. The swan, surprisingly, overturned the boat, and when the man tried to swim to the shore to save himself, the swan prevented his escape with an unusual persistence. The bird, without hesitation, drowned him, highlighting the true ferocity of this creature. Therefore, although mute swans may seem like charming birds from a distance, with their graceful beauty and imposing posture, it is important to understand that, in reality, they are extremely dangerous animals. Don't be deceived by their serene appearance. This is a bird with an uncontrollable temperament, capable of attacking with impressive intensity. One should not mess with this bird, as it will certainly not hesitate to show how deadly it can be. Number 19. The Harpy eagle. This is, without a doubt, one of the most imposing and intimidating birds of prey on the planet. Its extraordinary curved, hook-shaped beak and its peculiar ruffled plumage give this magnificent eagle a unique appearance, almost like a fusion between an owl and a traditional eagle. The name Harpy was not chosen at random. This bird was given that designation in reference to the fearsome harpies of Greek mythology, winged creatures of grotesque appearance, half human and half bird, known for personifying destructive storm winds. Now, if I were a real-life harpy eagle, I would undoubtedly feel somewhat offended by this comparison. After all, mythological harpies were widely described as beings with terrifying features and shrill, unsettling voices. So, calling any creature, even such a majestic bird, a harpy might sound, at the very least, rude. However, underestimating this formidable bird of prey would not be a wise decision. The harpy eagle is recognized as the heaviest and most powerful of all predatory birds, reaching impressive speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. However, what truly makes it an exceptional hunter is its overwhelming strength. Its talons possess such a crushing grip that they can literally squeeze the life out of their prey in an instant with a single contraction of their powerful legs. Ouch! Undoubtedly, a grim fate for those who find themselves targeted by this fearsome predator. The diet of this colossal bird consists of relatively large prey. Among its favorite meals are sloths and monkeys, but it does not hesitate to capture deer, iguanas, and even snakes. After taking down its prey, the harpy eagle usually devours part of its meal immediately, while the remaining carcass is carefully transported back to its nest to be consumed later. What a feast! Number 20. The mighty Griffon vulture. Have you ever come across a bird as colossal as this one? Meet the Griffon vulture, one of the largest and most imposing birds in all of Europe. Its sheer size alone would be enough to impress, but this creature goes far beyond that. Aside from being gigantic, it exhibits an intimidating and ruthless nature. Get ready to discover the feats of one of the most formidable birds in the world. The Griffon vulture belongs to the group of scavenger birds, meaning that its primary food source consists of the carcasses of animals that have already succumbed to death. However, this bird does not settle for lifeless remains alone. It is also known to attack weakened or dying prey, taking advantage of their vulnerability to secure a meal before the creature has even breathed its last. Brutal, isn't it? Beyond its remarkable ferocity, the Griffon vulture is an exceptionally equipped hunter, or more precisely, a master of locating food. Its eyesight is incredibly sharp, allowing it to spot a freshly abandoned carcass from an astounding distance of 3 miles, approximately 4.8 kilometers. This exceptional ability to see across vast distances makes it one of nature's most efficient scavengers. If its vision alone weren't enough to solidify its dominance in the skies, its size further reinforces its imposing status. This sky giant can boast a wingspan exceeding 2.7 meters, 9 feet, and reach an impressive weight of up to 13 kilograms, 29 pounds. A creature of such magnitude, silent and ever watchful, soars high above, scanning for its next opportunity to feast. But don't be fooled into thinking its immense presence is accompanied by constant noise. Quite the contrary. The Griffon vulture is a quiet and discreet bird most of the time. The only occasion when it truly makes itself heard is during its meals, when it indulges in its feast with almost chaotic enthusiasm. Imagine the scene. A group of these birds, their long necks buried deep within the carcass of a sheep or a cow, fiercely competing for every bite. That is the only moment their voices echo intensely. In every other situation, they are stealthy and nearly invisible predators, always lurking. So, the next time you find yourself outdoors, especially in mountainous or remote areas, stay alert. You may not hear a sound, but that doesn't mean you aren't being watched. The Griffon vulture might be soaring silently above, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out other interesting content that is appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.